the world suddenly erupted with a zombie virus outbreak, and amidst this chaos, a man professed his love to a beautiful woman who had already turned into a zombie. She was the object of his long-standing affection. However, the next moment, the woman charged at him. It all started 2 years ago when Akira joined a company, under the guidance of his supervisor, Fujita. He made his way to his workstation. Akira bowed to Fujita, expressing his sincerity, but as he stood up, he accidentally knocked down a colleague's files. When Akira looked up, he discovered that his colleague was a stunning beauty. Akira was immediately captivated by her exquisite appearance. The woman introduced herself as Saori from the accounting department. As Akira gazed at Saori, he felt as though he was falling in love. In the evening, the colleagues gathered for a party, further enhancing Akira's perception of the company's pleasant atmosphere. Soon everyone finished eating, and Akira bid farewell, preparing to go home. But at that moment, everyone stood up, saying it was time to return to the office. It left Akira a bit bewildered. Thus, on his first day at the company, Akira embarked on a path of overtime work, even pulling all-nighters. The next morning, he resumed working at his workstation without a break. After a year of continuous work, Akira grew tired of the routine. Fortunately, Saori cared for him and often brought him meals. The only reason he could endure staying at the company was his secret affection for Saori. However, every day Saori would be summoned to Fujita's office because she was Fujita's mistress. Under the prolonged pressure of work, Akira's mental state began to deteriorate, and his world turned gray. One day, while going to pay property fees, Akira witnessed a zombie feasting on a person. The zombie noticed him and lunged at him with its gaping mouth. Akira managed to escape and realized that the streets were filled with zombies. He could only desperately run, eventually reaching the rooftop. Looking at a falling airplane, he finally realized that the world had changed. In other words, he no longer had to go to work. At that moment, he was being chased by a horde of zombies, but he excitedly shouted. Previously, Akira saw a world shrouded in black and white by a dark mist, but now, the world before his eyes was filled with vivid colors. Akira eventually found a safe place to hide and contemplated what he should do next. Having not taken a single day off in the past 2 years, he had a long list of things he wanted to do. He decided to start doing all those things from that day onward. Suddenly, he remembered Saori. Akira believed it didn't matter if she was someone else's mistress. He had to express his feelings to her no matter what. So, he hopped on his bicycle and went to find her. Upon arrival, Akira noticed a pair of men's shoes at the doorstep. He looked up and discovered Fujita inside, who had also turned into a zombie. Taking this opportunity, Akira decided to vent his 2 years of frustration towards Fujita. He cursed at him and charged towards Fujita, eventually pushing him down the stairs. Afterward, Akira began searching for Saori's presence. He turned his head and saw Saori standing there, but she too had become a zombie. Akira was deeply saddened by this sight. Nevertheless, even in such circumstances, Akira uttered those words to her. In the next moment, Saori lunged towards him. In a panic, Akira fled from the scene. At night, when he found a safe place to rest, he couldn't help but exclaim how wonderful it was not having to go to work. He decided to seize the opportunity in this apocalyptic world to do all the things he had always wanted to but never dared. Thus, Akira wrote down the 100 things he wanted to do before turning into a zombie. The next day, Akira woke up. He started greeting the zombies downstairs, which made him unusually happy. The reason behind his happiness was that he no longer had to go to work. Meanwhile, the television station was also reporting that the world had been hit by a zombie virus. Even the headquarters of the television station had been invaded. The government had not provided any response to the situation. Before the reporter could finish speaking, she was attacked by a zombie. At that moment, Akira realized that he had run out of beer in the refrigerator. So, he decided to go outside to find some more beer. At the same time, his neighbors downstairs were waiting for police rescue as they were surrounded by zombies. The man felt a sense of despair. However, when he turned his head, he saw Akira on the pipeline. Akira explained that he came this way because the elevator was packed with zombies. The neighbors urged him to come inside as it was temporarily safer. Akira insisted on going to the supermarket to buy beer, and asked if they needed any food, offering to help bring some back for them. Today, there were noticeably more zombies around. making it more dangerous. Nevertheless, if he couldn't have beer, he would rather be eaten by zombies. Soon, Akira arrived at a supermarket, unaware that his actions were being recorded by surveillance cameras. To his surprise, there was another person inside the supermarket, and she happened to be a beautiful woman. She was collecting drinking water in the supermarket, so Akira approached her to say hello. However, the woman ignored him. Undeterred, Akira chased after her and asked for her contact information, citing the reason of forming an alliance. The woman criticized Akira for running around the streets solely for beer without any sense of danger. She believed that being with him would lower her chances of survival, so she rejected Akira's friend request. Just then, a horde of zombies rushed in. Akira quickly stood in front of the girl. In the next moment, a large truck crashed into the store. After the crisis was resolved, the woman rose and left. Akira was still savoring her scent. When he thought about chasing after her, he realized that his bicycle had been crushed. Watching her figure fade into the distance, Akira wondered if he would ever meet her again. As his bicycle was no longer functional, he began searching for alternative transportation. Eventually, he found a motorcycle and hurriedly rode back home. Climbing through the water pipes, he happily informed his neighbors that he had returned. However, what greeted him was a room filled with bloodstains. It seemed that they had also been unable to escape the zombies. Back at home, Akira drank beer alone, contemplating the unpredictable changes in life. He wrote down 33 things he wanted to do on a notebook, realizing that he had already accomplished some of them, bringing him closer to his goal of 100 things. Meanwhile, the girl Shizuka, whom Akira had just met, continued her daily training in information gathering. Shizuka constantly observed the situation outside and made various preparations whenever she went to the supermarket to collect supplies. She used cameras to monitor the outside world. One day, after entering the supermarket, Shizuka noticed Akira. Although he hadn't been infected, he had attracted a significant number of zombies, and all he did was grab a few beers. Shizuka considered Akira as someone who lacked a sense of danger. As she was about to leave, a large truck approached. Taking the chance, she thought she could eliminate the surrounding zombies, but she didn't expect Akira to rush her. The result was the scene where Shizuka saved him. Feeling safe, Shizuka returned with the supplies. She watched the video footage of Akira and was surprised to see his ecstatic reaction over beer during such a crisis. It reminded her of her own feelings when she saw desserts at the supermarket. Unlike Akira, Shizuka had written down 100 things she needed to do to avoid becoming a zombie. This man is truly remarkable. When the world was hit by a zombie virus outbreak, he was playing a game at a love hotel. Fortunately, his female companion was tied up. But outside the room, zombies were everywhere, and he hadn't eaten anything for 2 days. As he felt utterly hopeless, his phone suddenly rang. It turned out to be a call from Akira. Because he was bored, he drew himself a mustache like the one in the magazine, thus completing one of his 100 things to do. Just then, his phone rang. He excitedly rushed to check it, sending messages to his friends, but there was no response. That's when he realized that even though the network was restored, there weren't many people who could use their phones. Looking at the contacts on his phone, he suddenly saw the name of his best friend from college, Riyuzaki. So, he dialed his number. In the hotel room, Riyuzaki answered the call. Akira was elated to hear that he was still alive, and he asked for his address. Then Akira hopped on his motorcycle and raced toward Ryuzaki's location. Riyuzaki was his college classmate, and his closest friend. At this time, in his hotel room, Riyuzaki heard the sound of car horns outside and found it strange. All the zombies around were being attracted by the noise. It turned out it was Akira who had created the sound. Riyuzaki was curious and went out to check. To his surprise, the horde of zombies had vanished. He cautiously took steps forward. Just then, Akira reached out to greet him, startling him. Riyuzaki never expected Akira to actually show up. At that moment, a group of zombies came running toward them, so they desperately ran upstairs. Once they reached the rooftop, they used an air conditioning unit to block the entrance. Riyuzaki expressed his concern, saying that it wouldn't stop the horde of zombies. In a panic, he looked around, unsure of what to do. Akira said they had no choice but to jump across. After saying that, he made a dash for it. He successfully landed on the rooftop across. Riyuzaki was shocked by what he witnessed. He glanced down at the height, which terrified him. By this time, the zombies had broken through the door and entered. So, Riyuzaki made up his mind to jump across. Encouraged by Akira, he finally managed to leap into the air. Akira witnessed the whole scene and made fun of him. Luckily, he managed to grab onto the edge of the rooftop and didn't fall down. Then Akira promptly pulled him up. Riyuzaki started screaming because his precious parts got stuck. As night fell, the two of them sat on the rooftop, drinking beer. They jokingly teased each other. The relaxed atmosphere makes both of them laugh. Outside, the zombies roamed freely, but Akira and Riyuzaki were camping on the rooftop, enjoying themselves. This was also a way for Akira to fulfill one of his things to do before becoming a zombie. Akira praised Riyuzaki for cooking incredibly delicious food. Riyuzaki responded by saying that cooking is a skill every man should possess, and jokingly mentioned that Akira's lack of a girlfriend might be due to his cooking skills. This angered Akira, who declared that he would definitely find a girlfriend today. Riyuzaki was surprised by Akira's sudden determination to find a girlfriend, and they both looked down from the rooftop. The streets were overrun with zombies. At that moment, Riyuzaki noticed Akira's notebook, which had a note stating that he wanted to date a flight attendant. Inspired, Riyuzaki wrote down his own wish to become a comedy star. Akira wanted to stop him, as the notebook was meant for his personal desires. However, Riyuzaki expressed his willingness to help Akira fulfill his 100 wishes together. Riyuzaki acknowledged that if it weren't for Akira's rescue, he would have died in the hotel. Since they were in this situation, they decided to make the most of it. They decided to bring back a large TV set for their entertainment, and headed towards Ikebukuro. However, they encountered a roadblock on the way. A runaway tanker truck came speeding towards them. They spotted an underground passage ahead. Akira revved his motorcycle and made a daring leap into the underground passage, narrowly escaping the tanker truck. Inside the underground passage, they encountered a horde of zombies. Akira quickly applied the brakes, and that's when he noticed a warehouse nearby. They sprinted towards it, managing to keep the zombie horde outside. To their surprise, a beam of light shone upon them, revealing the presence of 4 other survivors. However, their spirits were low. Riyuzaki went up to them and reassured them that this is an underground department store. They don't need to worry about food for a while. The group gathered together, preparing to eat and drink while looking at the 3 beautiful women across from them. Riyuzaki started introducing himself and then introduced Akira. The 3 women also introduced themselves. Rika said they were co-workers. They just flew back from Los Angeles. Akira and Riyuzaki perked up upon hearing this and eagerly asked about their professions. Akira and Ryuzaki's minds were immediately filled with images of flight attendants. Akira mustered up the courage to sit next to Yukari and asked if she had a boyfriend. Sadly, his attempt was met with her displeasure. In that moment, he noticed Riyuzaki making progress and engaging with one of the beautiful women. Akira couldn't help but feel envious. Riyuzaki also noticed Akira and took the opportunity to mock him, determined to improve his relationship with the attractive women. Akira grabbed a bottle of alcohol and decided to do a nostril shot of tequila. Everyone was shocked by his action. Rika approached him, praising him for being a manly man, and offered him another bottle. Soon Akira couldn't hold it in and went to the toilet to throw up. Yukari followed him and gently patted his back. This made Akira feel that it was his special skill that impressed her. At the same time, Riyuzaki took his female companion to the second-floor mattress store, intending to indulge in some playtime. What they don't know is that Sadako, who is traveling with them, has already been infected by the zombies. Meanwhile, Rika, who had had a bit too much to drink, sarcastically questioned why the world had turned into such a mess, completely oblivious to the fact that Sadako had turned into a zombie right beside her. By the time she realized it, it was already too late. Rika's screams of horror instantly interrupted Ryuzaki's enchanting moment. However, the girl tells him to ignore it. Meanwhile, Akira believed that love had arrived for him, and asked Yukari why she cared for him. Yukari explained that she was concerned because he was self-destructively drinking excessively. She also revealed that she had a boyfriend, although she can't reach him, but she believes he's still alive. This made Akira's mood drop to the bottom again. At this moment, Riyuzaki also found Rika. When he tried to inquire about what had happened, he discovered that she had already turned into a zombie. The next moment, Rika charged towards him, and the still half-asleep girl was tackled to the ground. In a state of shock, Riyuzaki grabbed a suitcase and struck her, successfully killing her. Meanwhile, Akira and Yukari are having a heart-to-heart talk in the hallway. Yukari vented about her frustrating work and being bullied by colleagues. Akira felt for her. He comforted her with his warmth. Yukari was deeply touched by his words and began to develop feelings for him. Everything seemed to be heading in a positive direction. Suddenly, Sadako, who had transformed into a zombie, appeared. He directly pounced on the defenseless Yukari, leaving Akira furious. The beautiful girl he had almost won over was attacked by a zombie. He forcefully knocked the zombie away. However, when he went to check on Yukari's condition, he discovered that she had been infected. Yukari urged him to run. Knowing her deteriorating state, Yukari's strength failed and she fell into his arms. She mentioned that when she touched his back earlier, she remembered that her family used to massage her like that when she wasn't feeling well. Just then, the zombie crawled back up. Yukari expressed her gratitude to Akira and, without hesitation, pushed him away. Akira cried uncontrollably as he ran away. Soon, he spotted Ryuzaki's figure. Riyuzaki informed him that he had found a huge television. Akira burst into laughter, not expecting Riyuzaki to remember the television at a time like this. After returning to the base, Riyuzaki mentioned that his psyche was starting to develop shadows. However, he considered the trip to have fulfilled 2 wishes. Akira remembered what they had said, and added another wish to the notebook, to reminisce about the childhood dreams. The next day, Akira woke up groggily, his eyes fixed on the notebook where he had written his wishes the day before. Memories of his childhood flooded his mind, when he would don a cape and fight 2 bullies to protect his friends. Back then, he imagined himself as a superhero. Riyuzaki, who had also woken up, dyed his hair blonde. This further fueled Akira's desire to fulfill his childhood dream. He told Riyuzaki that he wanted to become a superhero. Akira said that you only live once. He wants to protect the survivors in a world full of zombies. Riyuzaki, however, pointed out that they didn't possess any superpowers, but Akira was prepared. He had investigated ways to fight against zombies. Riyuzaki was astonished by Akira's determination and decided to support him. Akira wrote down his wish to become a superhero in his notebook. Soon, they will be at an aquarium without any people. They quickly located a storage room and found the costumes they were looking for. Meanwhile, near the aquarium, a group of survivors was trapped on a bus. Unable to move, the people on the bus were on the verge of breaking down, and one of the bitten individuals started mutating. The nearby passengers were instantly overwhelmed by the zombie. Desperate to survive, a girl frantically tried to escape but slipped and fell heavily to the ground. In a critical moment, a person wearing a wetsuit suddenly appeared and sent the zombie flying. It was Akira, striking various poses. It turned out that the costume they had just found was a shark suit. It was made of a combination of titanium alloy and vibranium, resembling a chainmail armor. With this suit, even if bitten by zombies, they wouldn't get injured. Akira was quite pleased with this outfit and continued to guide the remaining survivors to the aquarium. Just then, he spotted the girl he had encountered at the supermarket. He couldn't believe he had run into her again. Lost in his thoughts, a zombie lunged at him. Akira thought it was the perfect opportunity to show off his coolness, but the next moment, the zombie bit his hand, causing him excruciating pain. Although his clothes won't be bitten through, but the force of the bite will still be transmitted into the body. Fortunately, Akira was able to escape in the end. Riyuzaki encouraged him to gather his courage and approach her. Akira greeted Shizuka, but she couldn't remember who he was. After Akira described their previous encounter, she finally recognized him. Akira once again asked for her contact information, but Shizuka questioned why he wanted to save people since it didn't benefit him in any way. She also wondered if his attire was due to lack of confidence and insecurity. Riyuzaki couldn't tolerate her remarks and engaged in an argument with her. But to their surprise, Shizuka scolded them both. Just then, a loud noise interrupted their conversation. Akira and Riyuzaki rushed over to investigate, and found a shark with legs slowly emerging in the corridor. This confused both Akira and Riyuzaki. The shark suddenly lunged at them with its jaws wide open. The two quickly fled. Soon, the zombie shark chased them into the main hall. In that moment, Akira pondered what a superhero would do. Suddenly, the water tank broke, releasing countless small zombie fish. Everyone started desperately running away. but the second floor was also filled with zombies. As they searched for an exit, the zombie shark burst through the wall and devoured all the zombies in front of it. Shizuka instructed everyone to run towards the left escape passage. They all rushed in, finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. At that moment, Akira felt something strange. He hadn't seen Shizuka's figure, and the terrified girl kept saying it wasn't her fault. Akira realized that Shizuka was still outside. Riyuzaki wanted to open the door, but it had become deformed and couldn't be opened. He turned back and called for Akira's help, only to find that Akira was no longer there. Meanwhile, the shark had targeted Shizuka. In the nick of time, Akira appeared just in time, but soon, the shark flung Akira away. Witnessing this scene, Shizuka was shocked and blamed him for not coming. However, Akira proudly proclaimed himself a superhero and stated that he had to save a beautiful girl. Just then, the shark caught up with them. However, Akira had no plan and didn't know what to do. Shizuka claimed she had a solution and asked if Akira wanted to give it a try. With no other choice, Akira agreed. Akira will be responsible for attracting the shark's attention, because sharks sense weak electrical currents emitted by living beings to hunt their prey, so placing the battery on its head would disrupt its nervous system. Soon, Shizuka found the battery, but in the process, the shark hit Akira with its tail. Seeing this, Riyuzaki immediately shouted, diverting the shark's attention. With his strong will, Akira stood up again. Shizuka ran over and threw the battery to him. Akira grabbed the battery and charged towards the shark. His strike successfully disrupted the shark's body, causing it to collapse in confusion. Akira was ecstatic with the success. With this victory, Akira fulfilled his wish to become a superhero. At that moment, Riyuzaki asked Shizuka why she didn't join the others. Shizuka explained that she wasn't familiar with them, and she had enough of group actions. Akira then invited her to join them, but when Shizuka saw his notebook, she refused him, because the 100 things she wants to do are all about not becoming a zombie. Her goals were completely different from theirs. Hearing her words, Akira no longer insisted. They prepared to leave and bid farewell to Shizuka. Unexpectedly, Shizuka voluntarily gave Akira her contact information before they parted ways. One day, while Akira and Riyuzaki were strolling around, they stumbled upon a watch store. Inside, they discovered a luxurious solid gold watch with an exorbitant price tag. Excitedly, the two of them started taking selfies, capturing moments of their beautiful lives. However, Akira soon realized that they had run out of water, and the city was now experiencing a power outage. Due to the power outage, the signal towers had stopped working, cutting them off from any external information. They began to wonder if they were the only two people left in this vast city. As the number of zombies continued to increase each day, finding water and food became increasingly challenging. Riyuzaki said they can't just play around like this anymore. They have to find food and water. At that moment, Akira called Ryuzaki's attention to the sky. Without pollution, the stars in the sky appeared exceptionally beautiful. This reminded Akira of the times when he used to gaze at the stars with his parents during his childhood, evoking a sense of nostalgia. Inspired by this, they decided to return to their hometown and see it for themselves. The next morning, they packed their belongings, only taking essential items for easy mobility. Soon, they hopped on a motorcycle and embarked on their journey. However, due to the long distance, Akira suggested they find a comfortable caravan, so that he could fulfill his wish of traveling in one. Riyuzaki agreed. Thinking it was a good idea, they quickly arrived at a RV dealership. But to Akira's surprise, they ran into Shizuka there. In this vast city, the chance encounter felt like fate's arrangement. Akira believed it was meant to be and extended another invitation to Shizuka to join them. However, before he could finish, Shizuka directly rejected him. Curious about Shizuka's presence at the dealership, Riyuzaki asked her, and she explained that during these extraordinary times, having an RV was a practical choice. Soon, they entered the RV sales hall, where they were excited to see various types of RVs, some even equipped with luxurious features like a massage bathtub. After careful consideration, Shizuka chose a high-powered RV as her preference. Just then, Akira exclaimed with excitement. Catching Shizuka's attention, they were astonished by the price and the extravagant features inside the RV. However, Shizuka pointed out that such an RV would not be practical on abandoned roads. Akira was reluctant to accept this reality. While they were debating, a horde of zombies suddenly appeared, surrounding them in an instant. Without a second thought, the group rushed into the RV and hastily closed the doors. Akira immediately started the vehicle and swiftly drove away before more zombies could encircle them. Unfortunately, not long after they escaped, The RV's tires were punctured by a spike belt. Riyuzaki fell down and got hurt. At that moment, suddenly, several buses came and blocked their way. The leader turned out to be none other than Akira's former department head, Hachiru. As Akira recalled the moments of being bullied by Hachiru in the past, he was instantly petrified. Hachiru was accompanied by a group of individuals who, to Shizuka's surprise, were dressed as an amateur baseball team. Hachiru was taken aback by the fact that Akira had survived, despite the oppressive memories flooding back. Akira nervously greeted him. Hachiru then mentioned that he had food and medical supplies in his base, and offered to help treat Akira's injured friend. Feeling unsure about Hachiru's sudden kindness, Akira was about to express his gratitude when Shizuka pointed out their deceitful actions. First, they punctured their vehicle's tires with spikes, causing injuries, and then used it as leverage. After that, they brazenly treated them as slaves. Hachiru says they're running out of time because the zombies are starting to gather around them. He proposed that Akira work for him for 2 days doing menial tasks in exchange for the safety of their group. For the safety of his companions, Akira agreed to his request. Upon reaching the base, Hachiru assigned Akira to tasks such as loading and unloading supplies and fortifying barricades. Akira looked at the people in front of him, panting from exhaustion. It was as if they had never rested. Hachiru reassured him that he would eventually get used to this way of life. Riyuzaki received treatment, and his condition was not severe. He blamed himself for putting Akira in danger but felt relieved that they would be able to leave this place in a couple of days. At the moment, Akira was working in the hot sun. It's as if he's back to his old working days. He noticed the beers stored in the vehicle, and an idea sparked in his mind. He decided to freeze the beers, thinking it would bring joy to everyone after their arduous work. Just then, Hachiru stormed in, yelling Akira's name. Furious at his actions, he believed that providing them with ice-cold beer was a waste of resources. However, at that moment, the members of the baseball team happened to walk by, excitedly assuming that the beer was meant for them. Hachiru had no choice but to put on a fake smile and distribute the beers to everyone, all while glaring at Akira with resentment. Outside, the scene made Akira even more terrified. He never expected that Hachiru would use zombies to transport supplies. Hachiru claimed they were a group of mindless tools who only knew how to work hard. He even said that Akira was just like them. Akira couldn't believe Hachiru would say such things about himself. As the oppressed, Akira began to question life itself. Riyuzaki, on the other hand, couldn't understand why Akira was so afraid of Hachiru. Shizuka remained silent on the side, lost in her own thoughts. She recalled her childhood, where her father was strict and demanding. The fear ingrained in her heart was something she could never forget. In the evening, Hachiru organized a dinner gathering, but Akira could only serve everyone on the side. The members of the baseball team were enjoying themselves, laughing and talking. At that moment, someone called Akira to bring drinks. Exhausted, Akira accidentally tripped and fell to the ground. Faced with the scolding of the others, he could only apologize repeatedly. Meanwhile, an old lady was pouring a drink for Hachiru. He casually knocked the bottle out of her hand with a backhand swing. He only drank from bottles poured by young girls. Then he called Shizuka, who was standing nearby, to come and pour his drink. Reluctantly, Shizuka went over and filled his glass. Hachiru stared at Shizuka with an evil grin. He couldn't help but lick his lips. Then Hachiru filled his glass again. He wanted her to drink down the entire glass of liquor. Shizuka didn't want to listen to his nonsense. She picked up the glass and finished it in one gulp. Then Hachiru asked Akira to bring the wine. Overwhelmed by exhaustion, Akira handed Hachiru an empty bottle. Hachiru smashed the bottle and angrily berated Akira. Shizuka witnessed everything. She remembered her own childhood, where her father, a successful entrepreneur, treated her with strict discipline. He didn't allow her to make friends or have relationships with male classmates. She wanted to rebel but felt powerless. In the end, she had no choice but to accept her father's demands. Shizuka understood Akira's fear of Hachiru all too well. At that moment, Akira accidentally dropped a can on the ground. This led to another scolding from Hachiru. Faced with Hachiru's intimidating words, Akira couldn't bear it any longer. Just as he was about to collapse, Hachiru suddenly started comforting him in a gentle voice. He said that in this zombie-infested world, following him would guarantee a secure life. As long as Akira obeyed his commands, he wouldn't have to think about anything. It was a privilege that others envied but couldn't obtain. Akira's mind was completely manipulated by Hachiru's words, and so, he resumed the endless cycle of work. Meanwhile, Shizuka accidentally discovered Akira's notebook. Driven by curiosity, she flipped through its contents. It made her realize that Akira was still an interesting person, so she wrote down one thing she wanted to do on the notebook as well. On that day, Shizuka planned to take Akira away from there, but the brainwashed Akira refused. He decided to continue working under Hachiru, believing that the outside world was too dangerous due to the zombies. Shizuka was infuriated by his words. She questioned whether Akira knew Hachiru's true nature, that he wanted to completely dominate Akira and make him obedient. She then took out Akira's notebook and asked if he had forgotten what he truly wanted to do. Akira took the notebook and saw what Shizuka had written on it. It was about speaking up and expressing his true thoughts to his superiors. Hachiru snatched the notebook away from him and threw it on the ground. Realizing the truth, Akira immediately rushed to protect the notebook. With newfound courage, Akira made the decision to leave Hachiru. Shizuka was relieved to see him taking a stand. Akira stated that a life devoid of pursuing his true desires, living like a zombie, held no meaning. At that moment, the baseball team returned with supplies, but as soon as they opened the truck's door, a zombie pounced on one of them, causing panic and chaos. Hachiru told everyone not to panic. After all, there's only one walker. However, the driver was too terrified and drove the truck into a group of captive zombies. They broke free and began to hunt down the survivors. Fortunately, Akira and his companions reacted quickly and managed to get on the car. However, Hachiru wasn't as lucky and was chased by the horde of zombies. Akira witnessed this scene, a sudden idea forming in his mind, so he asks everyone to help him. Meanwhile, Hachiru was desperately trying to escape but accidentally fell to the ground. In this dire moment, Akira drove the food truck in front of the approaching zombies, allowing Hachiru to climb onto the roof. He urged the others to take action. The members of the baseball team drove a large truck and surrounded the zombies, trapping them together. Akira opened the gas canisters inside the food truck. Akira and Hachiru were successfully rescued. Everyone praised Akira for his bravery. Hachiru approached, intending to continue giving orders, but the others started to express their dissatisfaction with his actions. So, everyone gathered their supplies and prepared to leave, leaving Hachiru alone, desperate and crying. It can only be said that he brought it upon himself. Akira and his companions embarked on their journey back to their hometown. On their way back to Akira's hometown, they happened to pass by a river, so in order to relax, they did yoga in the river. This fulfilled one of Akira's wishes. Along the journey, they had already fulfilled several other wishes. They were less than 2.5 hours away from Akira's hometown. Riyuzaki complained about the series of unfortunate events they had encountered on their journey from Tokyo. They had lost track of how much time they had spent so far. Akira, however, reassured everyone that as long as they arrived before the end of summer, it would be fine. Soon they realized there's something up ahead. Maybe the survivors are still in the car. Akira excitedly puts on his suit and runs up to the zombies and starts to look cool. Unexpectedly, a person dressed in samurai armor jumped into the air and sliced the zombies in half effortlessly. The crowd was stunned. The person continued to effortlessly dispatch the zombies with their long saber. Akira was so impressed by his maneuver. To his surprise, the person turned out to be a blonde beauty named Bea. She had come to this country because she loved it, and had a fascination with Japanese samurai, hence her attire. Akira opened Bea's truck and discovered it was filled with fresh fish. Due to certain circumstances, she needed to transport the fish, and requested Akira and his companions to escort her to a place called Takasaki. Shizuka was torn between helping her or not. Since she was a child, Bea wanted to come here to see the sights and eat authentic sushi. She's been working every day to save up her pocket money. Unfortunately, she encountered zombies as soon as she arrived. After searching for a while, she finally found a surviving sushi chef who made a deal with her. If she delivered the ingredients, she could indulge in sushi to her heart's content. Akira suddenly declared that he would help Bea transport the fish, even if it meant risking his own life. Only Shizuka and Riyuzaki knew that he was mainly motivated by his desire to eat sushi. Akira urged them to depart quickly, as the fish wouldn't stay fresh for long. They arrived at their destination in no time, but Bea hadn't been able to contact the sushi chef for 2.5 days and didn't know if he was safe. They soon arrived at the location, but the alley was filled with zombies. Akira and Bea geared up, preparing for a direct confrontation. Shizuka, however, had a good plan in mind. She sent Riyuzaki to attract the attention of the zombies. while Akira blocked the road with a large truck. Then Bea joined the fight, wielding her sword and effortlessly eliminating the zombies in front of them. All of this was planned by Shizuka. Soon there were a lot of zombies, so they started to throw gasoline bottles at the zombies. Shizuka saw that the time was right, so he told them to start the fire. However, unexpectedly, another large group of zombies appeared. The number of zombies is more than they can imagine, but at this time, the matches won't light. Many zombies trampled each other and rushed out of the encirclement. If this continues, the truck will be surrounded by zombies. Then the fish they brought in will be ruined. Not willing to give up, Akira puts on his gear and jumps down. He won't let these zombies stop him from eating sushi. Inspired by his bravery, Bea joined the battle, fighting side by side. However, the number of zombies was overwhelming. Then a drone appeared playing music. The zombies were attracted away by the beautiful sound. Shizuka's plan succeeded once again, so she asked Riyuzaki to start a fire. Riyuzaki threw the Molotov cocktail with all her might, and instantly ignited the zombies, and created a big explosion. The surrounding zombies were instantly set ablaze. In a short time, all the zombies were burned out. Akira was ecstatic. Finally, he could enjoy sushi. The group felt incredibly happy as they savored the sushi that night. The sushi chef was overjoyed to see people still coming to enjoy sushi during the apocalypse. Bea, moved to tears, tasted the sushi and exclaimed how delicious it was. She felt incredibly fortunate. The sushi chef, touched by her reaction, brought out all the sake in the restaurant for them to enjoy. The next day, they embarked on their journey again. Amidst the scorching summer heat, several days had passed since they last bathed, and their once fragrant bodies now emanated a foul odor. They decided it was time to visit a hot spring. At that moment, Shizuka and Bea emerged after changing their clothes. Even the largest sized clothes couldn't conceal Bea's impressive figure. Akira and Riyuzaki were moved to tears upon witnessing this sight. Bea was also thrilled at the sight of the hot spring. She had researched a lot about hot springs before coming here and began explaining. Seeing this, Riyuzaki immediately struck up a conversation. Meanwhile, Akira gazed at Shizuka, who looked incredibly cute and charming in the gentle breeze. Akira became captivated and awkwardly suggested that this place would be a great spot for a date. However, Shizuka, perhaps due to a different upbringing, believed that engaging in romantic relationships was a waste of time. Soon, they discovered an outdoor hot spring. Akira and Riyuzaki wasted no time and jumped right in. Seeing their joyous expressions, Shizuka also wished to bathe in the women's bath as soon as possible. However, Bea approached her and informed her that the women's bath had no hot water and they had to have mixed bathing. When Akira and Riyuzaki heard that, they immediately lost their cool. Then they put on a gentlemanly demeanor and invited them to take a bath with them. Shizuka promptly declined, but Bea stepped forward and opposed her, explaining that men, women and children have shared the same bath since the beginning of time. While Akira and Riyuzaki were moved to tears by this, a zombie emerged from the water, followed by several more. The group quickly turned and ran. Their plan to enjoy the hot springs together was shattered. They had come so close to having mixed-gender bathing. At this moment, those who couldn't soak in the hot springs were very sad. But at night, they still slept soundly. Suddenly, Akira woke up, feeling a parched throat. He decided to search for a water source and unexpectedly stumbled upon a natural hot spring. Eagerly, he immersed himself in the water. However, he accidentally bumped into someone. Surprised, Akira rose and checked, only to find Shizuka alone in the hot spring. He quickly apologized, assuring her that he hadn't seen anything. Shizuka blushed and told him to go up, but Akira jokingly remarked that he might as well be eaten by zombies if he couldn't leisurely soak in the hot spring. Shizuka had no choice but to agree. Now, the two of them were soaking in the hot spring, separated by a large rock. The atmosphere became subtly charged, and both of them blushed. Shizuka apologized for her behavior in the afternoon, explaining that her refusal to engage in romance was due to the fear of getting hurt. Akira appreciated her straightforwardness and felt that she was being incredibly honest now. Shizuka was delighted to hear this and expressed her hope that if she ever developed feelings for someone in the future, that person would also be able to express themselves as openly as she did. Then Akira suddenly reacted and asked her tentatively. Suddenly, a loud scream startled them. It turned out to be Riyuzaki and Bea. who had found their way there. Riyuzaki found the situation strange, wondering how their relationship had evolved to this point. As the two of them hurriedly explained themselves, Riyuzaki and Bea jumped into the hot spring, and thus, the story comes to an end.